Okay, welcome everyone to July's Zoom meeting. Tonight we're going to talk about positioning and movement around the penalty area. This was a training that U.S. Soccer put on in May, and I hope that you will get something out of it tonight as we go through it. Tonight, I know most Monday nights we try to stick around 60 minutes, depending upon conversation tonight. Uh, this may take a little bit longer, so feel free if you got things to do, jump off. We do record the sessions, and you can always finish the recording at when you have time, or if you can stick around, then it'd be great to have you here. As you can see, U.S. Referee Department likes to use special fonts, etc. So some of the lettering is going to overlap on some of the slides. I tried to fix it, and every time I fixed it, it just unfixed it for me. So I think it's important. These sessions are way more useful if all of you participate. And so please, as we go through this material, throw out your ideas, put your thoughts in the chat. Rachel's going to help me in monitoring the chat tonight, and that way we all get as much out of this as possible. So, thinking about the penalty area, why is positioning there so important? Again, feel free to throw out your ideas or type your thoughts in the chat. Everybody still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to go past 60 minutes if we don't have participation here. Oh, is there anything in the chat?
Yep, in the chat someone said critical decisions are happening there, and another person said critical for big goal decisions, penalty kick decisions, or no goal decisions.
Great. Yes, big piece there being goal and penalty kick and no goal decisions. So that is the big piece in the positioning around the penalty area. Okay, apologize. I'm still trying to get my computer working right. So these are 4 pieces of the puzzle that we want you to think about in order to be able to make the optimal decision. We want you to think about and use your football understanding, you reading the game, reading the players, and anticipation and the next phase of play. So what do you think of when we use the term football understanding?
Knowing the game of soccer and anticipating where the ball may be going or what players are going to receive the ball more than others.
Yep. So here is where we may be using our experience as a player, or maybe our experience of watching soccer, of knowing and understanding how the game usually flows. And so we can anticipate that next phase of play. So let's go to the anticipation of the next phase. What does that mean to you?
Where's the ball going next? Where do I have to be? Right. One of the mentors out there in the world said refereeing is easy. It's got to be at the next place where big boom fall down happens. And so understanding where you need to be to see that next big boom fall down. And so wherever that's going to be on the pitch.
Okay. And so that's a good piece that leads us into the quadrant of reading the game, of being able to know where is that next phase going to happen, so that way then I can be in that optimal position to see what I need to see to make a call or to not make a call.
We have
And then-
some chats real quick. Some other people said the next best position for being able to see the play, reading possible counterattack, and being proactive instead of reactive.
Fantastic. And then the last component of this is about reading the players. So what's some things that we may gain from reading the players?
Knowing if they're likely to kick the ball long distances or pass the ball around. Reading the players could also mean anticipating what players are going to receive the ball most, especially near the penalty area.
Okay.
Someone
Yeah,
else
yeah.
said, oh, sorry. Someone
Go
in the
ahead.
chat said frustration level of players.
Mm.
Okay, perfect. I think this is all good components to be able to assist us in achieving that optimal position. So let's go a little bit more into that football understanding. So again, let's dig a little bit more. Why is football understanding important for optimal positioning around the penalty area?
Well, even from a simulation standpoint, sometimes offensive players are going to try and, win one over on you for a penalty or something like that, or a free kick just outside the area. So you got to be mindful of what players are going to potentially do that. If you have a chance for video review ahead of the match or something, but just even watching the flow of the game, you can be ready for crosses. You can be ready for dribble taking on players in the area, et cetera. You can just kind of watch players what they're doing, head up, head down, et cetera.
In
Okay.
the chat, someone said staying out of the way but being there to feel the play. And another person said anticipating the play can help with positioning and where to look.
Okay. So information that helps the referee read the game. And this, I think, breaks down a lot of the concepts that everyone has shared here. So looking at what do we have for pressure in regards to cover and support, and then versus maybe that open path, lack of opponents, and maybe space behind defense. So do we have attackers what are some of the tactics they may utilize when they encounter these two situations? If an attacker's got pressure on them, what most likely are they going to do?
Someone in the chat said pass the ball.
Okay. And if they have an open path, what most likely are they going to do?
Probably dribble the ball or take it themselves.
Yep. So the next piece of this puzzle is the challenge. Does the defender have the opportunity to foul and or maybe make a tackle or hold on the attacker, as opposed to maybe the speed of attack, the defenders and their ability to be able to get behind the ball and create time. Another way to look at it is in regards to the attacking player themselves. Is their head down or is their head up? and gets back to that whole pressure and open path as above. Another signal in regards to that head down, they're most likely going to be dribbling, whereas their heads up, probably because they're under pressure and are going to look for another player on the field to be able to pass it to. And then finally, think about what are the players going to do next? And in that equation, you're going to be looking at the number and the location of the defenders, the location on the field, the distance to the goal, and direction to the goal. So I just gave you 4 concepts to use in regards to anticipating play. What are these 4 concepts also used for as officials?
Helping the official figure out their positioning in or around the penalty area.
Okay. I'm thinking in a misconduct way. What are those for?
In the chat, we have Spa and Dogso promising attack versus not promising attack.
Yep. So we've been thinking about those 4 concepts in the way to apply misconduct against the defending team in order to make a decision. But we also can be using these 4 concepts at the same time in regards to football understanding and knowing or being able to have a better idea of what the attacking team and what the defending team may do when we're in and around the penalty area. Anybody have any questions so far? Okay, let's start to use some of this knowledge then. Okay, so I'm going to go back a little bit. As we start to watch this a second time, I want you to be thinking about what do you like about what the referee does here, and what would you suggest to the referee they could do better? So we're ending the clip here. Now we'll start. Okay, anybody have suggestions for this referee? And or what did you like about what the referee did here?
We have some stuff in the chat. One person said, I think their starting position is too close to the AR on that side. And another person said the referee more left to see all players plus main penalty area and AR. And another person said could be around the corner of the D. We have another one that says on the cross, I would like him to move further left. That's what I was thinking too, is that in the beginning he has good positioning and is close and is moving around, but he didn't anticipate the cross coming soon enough and wasn't able to get all the way across the penalty area in order to see the ball landing for a possible head injury or foul.
Okay. I think we've hit what US Soccer also said, but I'll kind of walk through that as we go. The first thing that the US Soccer said, see those couple steps back, they felt that that was unnecessary and that either he should have just slowed his pace down and or just stopped as opposed to moving backwards. US Soccer's big into not moving backwards. They felt initially the movement to the right was good because it was where the play was developing. But as you can see, he didn't do a good job of anticipating that ball going back across the penalty area, and they would have wanted him to be further over, like all of you pointed out in your comments. There was a point there where you could see that the attacker head is up and the referee wasn't reading that they were going to make that cross. So I think a big piece here is watching the players' body language who has possession. If they've got it down, like we said earlier, they're going to probably be dribbling. And when they get that head up, that's most likely because they're looking for somebody to pass the ball to. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Okay, it happened pretty quickly. We'll get another look at this, I believe. Okay, what's our feedback on this one?
When you see pressure, go to pressure. So he was a bit slow to react on that.
I think he was going through his motions here of, oh, it's a goal kick, so I'm going to move up the field to be where the drop zone is going to be, and didn't pay attention that the defending team stayed in and tight and didn't anticipate the ball trying to be played out of the back and recognizing that he probably should have been closer to the goal line than to the halfway line.
We had some responses in the chat too that were similar to Jeremy's, saying as soon as there was pressure, he should have sprinted closer to play. He should have moved up when the team pressed. He assumed a long ball from the goalkeeper, and the referee waited a second before starting his run.
Perfect. You guys are doing a great job of applying the concepts here already. Okay, here's our next example. I don't need you to pay attention as much to the foul or no foul. Again, we're looking at positioning. Okay, anybody typed anything in the chat yet there, Rachel?
Not yet, but one comment that I had was that she did a good job of when the play went out to the side of the field with only two players. She started to sprint over, but then stayed more central, assuming that that player would then cross or pass the ball since it was just them out wide.
Okay.
I mean, her movement was excellent. Her football understanding was excellent. Who's that? Jedi Robinson on the ball, so she knows he's probably going to go to the end line and cross it over. So she's kind of risk rewarding herself in terms of positioning. She did really well in that position.
I don't know if anybody noticed in this clip, she was constantly moving and had her feet moving, where in the previous clip, I think we had more got to a spot, kind of stopped for a minute, then got to the next spot, kind of stopped for a minute. And that feet constantly moving here, I think helped her in her movement that really kept her moving with the play of ball and having the right position as the play developed. And then my only feedback would be maybe getting closer into the penalty area as that play kind of came to an end, and we started to have a potential challenge on the goalkeeper and attacker. Okay, any questions about the clips so far? Okay. Let's talk about the 5 keys to penalty area positioning. So hopefully we'll start to give you some concepts here that will help you. So first of all, presence and proximity. Be there and enter the penalty area as required. Just like anywhere on the field, the angle of view gives us the ability to make those key decisions. Location, read the players and the ball. That will help us get to the right location as the plays are developing. Keeping angle over proximity on those counterattacks. There's nobody that can always keep up with the counterattack and the speed of them. So let's make sure we're doing angle over how close we are to the actual play. And then finally, keep moving with the ball, keep our feet moving at all times, and be explosive when necessary. So we'll get a little bit more into these concepts. So I think what's important, as you're always told, if any of you have been mentored, is that be where the game needs you. Either one step either way can be the difference. I know several of you were at RDA this weekend, and in one of Bill Dittmar's presentation, he did some clips in regards to Essay in one of his World Cup games, and Bill's presentation had still images of plays, which is a presentation he did actually for NSO about a year ago. But in it showed the play where Essay called for a penalty kick because the Brazil player yanked on the Norway's jersey, actually pulled the jersey. And in all the pictures that were immediately available, because we didn't have VAR back when he was officiating the World Cup, you couldn't see any foul or anything that Essay had called. And then after a few days, they actually finally found a picture clearly showed that the Brazil player had completely pulled the Norway player down from behind. And so that whole being one step way or another can help you be able to see a foul or not see a foul. I know any of you who've been mentored by me, you've probably heard enter the penalty area, especially when your presence is required. But we should be getting into the penalty area so that we don't feel that it's a barrier or a fence, as U.S. Soccer described it as. And remember, on restarts, the players are looking to see where you are. That way they know where they can put their elbows or where they can pull the shirts or where they can hold the players from being able to get to the ball as it comes in. So players they need to be able to feel you and or see you. So presence and proximity helps with that. Okay, let's look at this clip. Again, paying attention to our positioning, not so much on fouls like we usually are in clips. Okay, so what are some of the things that we felt that the referee did well here?
In the chat, we have good proximity and that she had good angles and was moving around, and that again, close proximity with a good angle. Another person said she does end up close to the incident, but it took her a little while to get there.
I don't know if anybody saw the spot where the referee actually ends up running into. So US Soccer felt like the ref could have gotten closer to that first play of contact here. And if you just notice there, she just ran into the defender and kind of lost track of where she's at as this ball starts to come back out. Like as she goes off, we can't see it.
So maybe a little farther left, working hard to get out that way would
Yeah.
help her both see the potential foul penalty decision and stay out of the way of defender and or counterattack.
Yep. Perfectly worded, Jeremy. Okay, let's hit the next one then. Let's go through situation 1 first. So let's start putting our comments here for this referee on this situation.
He just stops. It's just like, like why? And he's not even in the frame for like where when all the action's happening. I would expect you're supporting your AR. You're at least to the top of the area. You know, it's funky to see somebody just stop 30 yards out. I think somebody's threw that in the chat.
I thought the same thing as Jeremy. He's running up with the play, and then as soon as the ball's bouncing around in the penalty area, he's so far away from play that he's not even in the frame. And then in the chat, we have that he stays about 30 yards away from the goal while all the action's in the box. He should be closer. And I don't know where he was, but probably couldn't see the contact from his angle. Someone else said that he needs to be closer to the ball, stopped running too soon, didn't follow play close enough, lost his angle, and maybe a little further left, keep play between the center and the AR.
Yeah, and right here, one of U.S. Soccer's component is look at how this ball kind of bounces around, and they're dribbling, they're challenging, they're dribbling, and then we kind of go back out. Oh, look at he's in the same spot that he was on the field, and didn't move left at all to be able to get that better angle. All good observations there. And that's another one where they felt that the lateral movement would have helped this referee out. Okay, here's our next example. Okay, hopefully some of you are starting to put your comments in here.
Someone said that he was in no man's land, needed to be closer to play, and started too far to the left. Should be closer, but the angle was good.
Yeah, I think isn't this the same ref that got caught on the goal kick? That he was way upfield and they tried to play it out of the back. So again, I think he tries to go to the positions that get recommended to referees as where we should be for restarts and isn't adjusting his position based on what he's reading on the field. And definitely based on how the team was setting up for that corner kick, probably should have been closer to the AR than being in the opposite end of on the opposite side of the field. You also did compliment him in regards to his fast reaction to be able to get back over to be able to sell his decision in regards to the penalty kick. Okay, go ahead and start typing your comments and or just speak up. So watch right here as he sees the play developing. He goes backwards. Where would have been a better place for him to go instead of backwards?
Opening up to the side.
Yep. Should have been going to the left instead of backwards. Is Inga on the did I see Inga on the call tonight?
Yes.
So Inga, here's a perfect example in what you and I were talking about on Sunday at our drill in regards to moving laterally instead of moving backwards. So now I have an example for you because I know we were struggling to find one.
And in the chat, someone did mention that the referee could have moved more left. Another person said that he has great footwork and good positioning. Someone mentioned that he could move lateral. Inga said, got it, see it, going to try it.
Okay, nice job. Let's talk about the angle and of view and cover. So ability to see so we can make those key decision spots. So I think it's always great when we put together pictures and can talk about how to divide the field up in making decisions. So this is that triangle that just went into the corner of the penalty area is considered no man's land in regards to your AR. Your AR cannot bail you out here in making decisions. They have no better of an angle than what you should have by being in the right position. They also, ARs can't help you in regards to making the decision of whether the ball is in the penalty area or out of the penalty area on these two lines that just got circled. Their view doesn't allow that, and that's why it's important that as referees we have our lateral movement, so we are looking down those lines to decide whether or not the ball is in or out of the penalty area on those two lines. Again, remember, one step either way, it equals making a difference in your decisions. You need to take ownership and not rely upon your ARs in these spots. And really, referees the only person positioned to observe and make decisions in those areas. Questions, comments about angle of view and cover in this example? Okay, let's apply the knowledge then.
I would say that the center referee didn't anticipate um, the ball going that far, so he probably could have been probably like a couple steps farther up the field. That way he could have a better angle and see what happened with the goalie picking up the ball.
In the chat, we have AR covering those lines is like the fans helping with the touch line from the stands. Someone said VAR, and another person said as soon as there's a possibility that the keeper would play the ball, I would move to the left to get the better angle.
Perfect. I think we hit the highlights there with the feedback and chat. So let's look at this one. I'm glad the goalie was worried about getting those divots fixed.
Really good reading of play, really great positioning by the center to get actually wide enough to the right to see in or out, and good supporting, obviously flag from the AR, who was well positioned to see what happened as well. That's pretty much green zone right in front of them. So really nice job between both from my vantage point.
In the chat, we have David said, does the keeper get a yellow card for intentional handball? Inga said, good AR help and signal, captain's only time. And Robert said, I noticed the AR shifted upfield after the foul call. Was he suggesting out of penalty area?
I think the first goalkeeper yellow card question was related to the first goalkeeper handling outside Colombia versus US. And I would say, yeah. And this one, the keeper did get a yellow for obviously a UB challenge just outside the area.
Yeah, good observation on did the AR move back up the line to signal to the referee that they felt that it was out. I know that's a mechanic that I use in my pregame. If the AR feels that it's out of the penalty area to move towards the halfway line. So I'm guessing that's probably the information that was conveyed, since I don't think these guys were on comms. And then the referee did a phenomenal job. He kicked that into fifth gear there, and took off to make sure he had that sight on that line to be able to make that determination. Okay, here's our next one. Okay, any feedback for this referee?
Inga asked, did referee have time to signal advantage?
Yeah, it definitely kind of a little awkward there. Is she deciding there was no foul there, or was she allowing advantage?
Yeah.
Because initially when I saw it, I thought, oh wow, that kind of looked like a foul. Oh, look, the ref got lucky and the ball went in the back of the net.
Yeah.
So Inga, good call out on the mechanics that probably should have occurred with the advantage call.
Yeah. I remember,
Robert. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
no, I remember a few years ago, like she might have been like a little bit further right to see that contact the center. But she did get a little bit lucky, maybe, but she probably thought in her head, hey, we're going to see how this plays out. Good decision. I remember the men's national team game, 4 years ago against Mexico, where similar, like, not necessarily goalie, but it was contact in the area. And the center at the end of the ball going in the back of the net just basically raises both of his hands and just like in an advantage signal, like, hey, here's what it is, right? So it's almost like you see it, you're selling it at that point. That could have been an option for this center.
There's another one. Any comments in the chat there, Rachel?
Not yet, but I was gonna say it's kind of hard to tell with all the zooming in and zooming out, but it looks like the referee does a good job of booking it down into the corner since that's the opposite side of their AR. But then I think she got a little bit mixed up in play because they started to um drop back, but then the ball was crossed again. So I think overall pretty good positioning.
I think the ref did a nice job of as they started to back up, they went to the left to be able to potentially get out of the way, which then gave them a nice option to be able to then follow the ball back in as it went towards the goal line.
We have some chats now. David said that he would have liked to see the ref move towards the center at the end of play. Inga said that the referee was close. Robert said proximity question mark could have been closer to play, could have lateral right quicker on the pass. And Connor said would have liked to see the ref move more centrally when the ball is at the corner. She gets there, stops moving her feet, and then reacts to the cross. And Inga said we need a Seinfeld episode about no backpedal.
Yeah, she stopped and backpedaled. But I think I like the movement to the left to get the angle. I think that's what she was going for there. And so it's a risk reward, right? You're getting that deep, far left. So not a bad decision in the end.
Okay, let's talk about location now. Read the players and the ball and scan. So know by scanning the location of the players, the location of the ball, and what your movement options are. We need to remember what is our way out of here without backpedaling, and make sure that we stay out of our players and the ball paths. As you can see in these two pictures, the refs did not think about their escape path. And lastly, let's not watch the ball. Okay.
We're always picking on Katya. Come on. She needed to get out of there right then. Mhm.
So one of the learning points that US Soccer had in this was stay out of the penalty area. I'm sorry, penalty arc. Everybody's like, what? So here we have the signal for the corner kick. I will tell you that with the corner kick taking it on the side that it's on, a lot of refs, and I don't know how old this footage is, but most refs now are actually starting on corner kicks over in this area when it's in this side, as opposed to where Katja was in the middle of the penalty arc. I think if she would have picked either being on the closer side or even the further side, we probably wouldn't have seen the two players that she ran into as she was trying to set up for the next phases of play. Anybody have any comments on that or other observations?
Someone in the comments said spa as a joke to the referee.
Okay, let's hit the next one here.
I would say she didn't really move when the ball was heading towards her. She kind of just froze. And she didn't really make an effort to get out of the way. She just kind of stood there and interrupted the play.
Yeah, Aaron, I think that's a perfect observation in how U.S. Soccer classified it. She didn't have her escape route
Yeah,
planned
just
out very well.
gotta feel the players too. See them, hear them, feel it. It's because like, where's the next player coming from? The person's behind her, right? And so like, you can't have eyes in the back of your head, but this is part where scanning comes in too. Like just earlier, right? Knowing where players are coming in potentially could help you establish an escape route.
Yep. Yep. And if all else fails, getting wider usually will get you out of the place that you don't want to be, which would have helped her on this spot too. Okay, let's talk about counterattacks and uh, recognizing that angle is going to help you over proximity because
Richard, can
proximity.
you hold for a second? There was a
Yeah.
question that was relevant on the last one.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jeremy.
Drop balls where and for who in that moment? Keeper in the penalty area. So when the contacts is made with the referee, who basically stops the play, I think that's where your drop ball is, not necessarily in the penalty area there, because like it's essentially hitting the ref right here, bam, right. So that's where the drop ball is going to be for the last team to touch the ball.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Cool.
Okay, so again on those counterattacks, having angle over proximity, making sure you create the optimal angle. First steps, are you going left or are you going right? Because you're not going to have many steps to be able to not use correctly. And kind of once you've made your decision left or right, you got to stick with it because you're already trying to make up ground. Making sure that we anticipate the next phase of play, and this is going to require speed and acceleration. So we work to close down the space and the distance, and then this is also where we can use the referee and AR communication. Pre-game, and of course, the comms that we all use during our games will help us to be able to communicate to each other between the AR and the ref when the ref gets caught on those counterattacks. Okay, here's our first example. Okay, what feedback do we have for this referee or observation?
I would say that he's a little slow moving to get up to towards the goal.
Yep, I little reactive as opposed to proactive. He kind of starts his Sunday jog there, as opposed to a acceleration of needing to probably make a decision in the penalty area.
I agree. I don't judge, but it seems like he's not running very quickly or to full speed, especially when he realizes that the play is going to the goal. He should be kicking it into whatever gear he has left, and it looks like he's actually slowing down.
Okay. Here's our next one.
I would say that he's slow to react to kick it into gear. He also was kind of in the middle of the play as the ball was getting kicked. The ball was getting kicked towards him.
So this is at the time the fastest player in football, right? So he's probably running 22 miles an hour. So there's no way you're going to catch that person, right? So it's actually pretty good because normally what's our decision? We go left, right? And so to go right here to see the contact, because if he's left, does he see the potential penalty? Maybe not.
Yeah, and that was U.S. Soccer's commentary, that this was the ref did a good job of doing his homework to know that 10 is the fastest player on the team, and as most all of us would usually go left to have the angle off of our diagonal that we're taught, that he actually went right to be able to see the foul that occurs, because of being to the right, that he probably wouldn't have been able to see from the left based on how the players' bodies are. Okay, and number 5, move with the ball, keep the feet moving, and we need to have our be explosive. So let's not let players block our vision. We need to be scanning the field and not just watching the ball. And so when we know that we don't have a challenge on the ball as the player's making their move, we need to be looking up and finding out where are the players that they're most likely going to pass, and or does the player about to encounter a defender, and which dribbling's not going to be an option anymore, or do they got open space, so they're going to probably move down the field before passing it off. Make sure that we know our surroundings, which is important on especially restarts, as we saw in regards to that corner kick. We need to have explosive movement and react, and or be able to be proactive in our movements. And then those first few steps can always make the difference, especially in counterattacks, when we may need to go left or right because we're not going to get the proximity that we would like to have of being 10 to 15 yards away. As that ball moves, we should be moving, always keeping our feet moving. If we find ourselves standing on the pitch, we probably should start walking, knowing where we believe the play is going to develop, so that way we're getting to that next phase of play sooner than later. And make sure that we have that angle so we can see the between the players and be able to make decisions in regards to fouls. Okay, so here's our next video. Okay, what's our thoughts here? Whoops, went the thoughts here of our referee's positioning.
I think that it looks like she does a good job of keeping her feet moving and not staying stationary around the penalty area.
Yeah, so I think she did a good job of. We had a potential for a short pass there because of having the second attacker there, and or they could just decide to go ahead and kick for a long pass in order for someone to take a shot in the middle there. They lined up kind of in between the two. Luckily, no defenders, so out there by the corner, so we didn't need to manage distance from the corner in regards to that aspect.
In the chat, we have good movement and positioning from Inga.
Okay, so what feedback would you have for this official?
I think that she had good lateral movement when the ball was first being served in, but then she kind of just comes to a stop at the edge of the, or maybe she didn't make it to the edge of the box, but see there, she's kind of just stopping and watching now. In the comments, Paul said good scanning, maybe a little delay in reaction. Robert said sprint closer to play when there was a potential collision with the keeper. Inga said when the long boot becomes so obvious, get closer to the penalty area and get closer to the drop zone.
The U.S. Soccer's comment was that she was arriving as opposed to had arrived in making that decision on the challenge with the keeper and attacker. So good comments, everyone. Okay, anybody have any thoughts on this referee's performance?
We have good movement and good positioning.
I would say he also did a good job scanning, making sure that he has a way out, and that he ran up closer when the ball was closer to the goal.
Yep, you guys hit on all the points that US Soccer had in their notes. So move us on to the next one here.
Could you play it one more time?
Yeah. I think this is the same ref we had in an earlier clip. He likes to stop and squat.
Someone said that he stopped when the ball was crossed. And Inga said, AR, help me. David said ref shouldn't be standing directly behind where the ball is likely to be played, should have moved more to the right.
Yeah, and this is here we have the ball going back to the keeper, and see that the keeper is going to clear that ball up, and the ref's speed in which he started to move up the field didn't increase to be able to compensate of that initial kick by the goalkeeper. Okay. Assistant referees, how can you help? So what can you do in positioning around the penalty area? So I think we've all seen this picture before. Okay, as we saw in the last one, ARs don't have a clear angle, so we are not going to be using our flag in regards to providing information on whether it's in or out of the penalty area on those lines that are parallel to our touch line. ARs do have the best angle for whether or not the player, let me say that again, whether or not the foul occurs in or outside the penalty area at the line that is parallel to the goal line. And so this is where AR should be helping in regards to we have a foul and it is in the penalty area or not. For those that were at RDA or attended the earlier webinar that we did in regards to teamwork with referees and ARs. ARs are going to be using their flag and signaling for the foul, probably in this area of the penalty area. Whereas here we get into the yellow and red zones of the field. We're going to be using the skirt to be communicating whether or not we believe that the ball was inside the penalty area. So here is our summary. That person look familiar to anybody?
Ingrid.
It is Ingrid. So optimal position requires optimal reading, and that's not reading the laws of the game, but reading the play of the game. Optimal reading requires football understanding. I liked how a lot of you were using the terms of scanning the field, looking at the player in regards to their looking up or looking down to know whether they may be passing and or wanting to dribble. And presence and proximity equals credible decisions. And sometimes we need to maybe give up proximity for angle when we know we can't have proximity because of a counterattack. With that, does anybody have any further questions or comments?
Someone has their hand up, Dad.
Great. Jailu, go ahead.
I actually have a question regarding the topic we discussed last meeting for the 8-second restriction. And during the meeting, I wasn't attend, but I watched the recording, and I heard you mention that we, for the last 5 seconds, we use our fingers and also voice out for the countdown. But in practice, I found out that's being weird because also that encourage the goalie to not release the ball until I count to like 2 or 1. And they feel like I'm counting on him, and they're like, I will not release, you cannot do anything to me, something like that. So my question is like, do we really have to voice out, or can we just use our finger alone?
So I encourage people to count it down. And the reason being is that in some situations, we are going to have goalkeepers that aren't paying attention and aren't trying to use this new rule to fully waste their full 8 seconds because they're maybe because the game is maybe tied. And by counting it out, we're not going to get the feedback that I didn't see that you had your hand up and didn't realize it was you were counting down the last 5 seconds. So I understand how now potentially a team who's up may use it to the advantage of wasting 3 more seconds than what maybe they would have before. But I still think in the long run, I don't know how many of you were counting how many seconds goalies were actually holding the ball, but I will tell you that I probably found on average most goalies were holding the ball for 8 to 10 seconds. And I was counting it because I was making sure that both teams were holding it for 8 to 10 seconds, because when they went beyond that, then I usually would call it out and remind them they only had 6. So 8 seconds is a good time. And as you can see, whenever we have a law, people find a way to cheat around it to their advantage.
Yep, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions, comments?
We have
oh,
we
go
have a
ahead, Rachel.
comment in the chat from Robert that said that he would also recommend reviewing this new rule and mechanic with the coaches before the game. And Paul commented that voices for more than the keeper on the field.
Yeah. And that topic we will also cover in our August Zoom meeting, which will be the fourth Monday of August. That is our annual meeting where we cover all the league rules again, refamiliarize ourselves in regards to mod rules versus youth rules versus high school rules, etc. So hopefully all of you will be able to tune in on the 25th and or watch the recording afterwards. So with that, I thank you all for your time and have a good rest of your evening.